The methods used by the Viet Cong to kill American soldiers were truly disgusting. During the Vietnam War, the Viet Cong and their allies became infamous for creating some of the most brutal and horrifying traps in modern history. One of the most feared devices was the punji stake. These were sharpened bamboo spikes hidden in pits or along trails. They weren't always meant to kill outright, but to cause deep, festering infections. Soldiers who fell into them could be left screaming in agony, sometimes losing limbs, even if they survived. The spikes were often smeared with human waste, ensuring that even a small wound could turn into a festering infection, sometimes leading to gangrene or even death. The psychological impact was just as devastating. Every step in the jungle could be your last. Concealed spike pits took this further. Entire camouflaged holes, lined with sharpened stakes, were dug across paths or hidden beneath leaves and brush. A single misstep could send a soldier plummeting into the pit, where the stakes tore through legs, arms, or even the abdomen. Some pits were designed with angled spikes, which meant the victim couldn't pull themselves out without ripping their flesh apart even further. Others were built deep enough that escape was almost impossible without help, leaving men trapped and bleeding while calling out in agony. The traps didn't just maim, they tied up entire units, as rescuing one injured soldier could take hours and expose others to ambush. Tripwire traps brought instant destruction. A soldier brushing against a hidden wire might trigger a grenade, or release a massive swinging log studded with spikes. The grenades, often American-made explosives captured or scavenged from the battlefield, were rigged to go off at chest or waist height. When detonated, they blasted out deadly fragments of shrapnel, tearing through flesh and bone. Even those who survived could be left with catastrophic injuries, blindness, missing limbs, or deep, jagged wounds that rarely healed cleanly in the jungle. Swinging log traps, nicknamed mace traps, could crush skulls or snap spines in an instant, while others hurled sharpened bamboo spears into the path of anyone unlucky enough to cross them. These traps weren't just meant to kill, they were meant to terrify, making every vine or twig on the jungle floor feel like a potential death sentence. Booby traps weren't limited to the jungle. The Viet Cong often planted them inside huts, doorways, or even along cattle tracks. What looked like a safe dwelling could conceal an explosive or a spring-loaded spike board waiting to impale intruders. This meant that even villages and ordinary paths carried a constant threat of sudden, violent death. Beyond the battlefield, torture methods also left deep scars. Captured prisoners were subjected to immobilizing chairs that forced them into agonizing positions for hours or days. Beatings, prolonged stress positions, and sleep deprivation were common, breaking down both body and spirit. Modern human rights reports have found patterns of these techniques continuing in Vietnam's detention system, showing the persistence of these brutal methods. What made these traps and tortures so effective wasn't just the physical damage, it was the fear they created. Soldiers never knew if the next step, the next doorway, or the next sleepless night would bring unbearable pain. The Viet Cong didn't just fight a war of bullets,